Welcome to the Barron's Hideout Podcast. I'm your host, Dustin.
And I'm your co-host Aaron.
I do have to say that it has been a while since I feel like we've done one of these because last week I was on vacation, so we did a pre-recording session midweek before I left, and I
Mm-hmm.
think we recorded one on the Saturday, right? Or we did a
Yeah.
live stream. Was it live streamed or
Um,
was it that pre-recorded as well? I
I think
forget.
we pre-recorded.
So yeah, it's been
But
super crazy. Like I want to say like a week and a half, and it feels really good to see your face, Aaron, and I do miss
oh, I know you too.
you.
You're so pretty.
And unfortunately, today is gonna also. Oh my God! Bleh! As I'm burping and
Liquid
being gross over
death.
here. um, this is also going to be a pre-recorded event because Aaron is about to go on his vacation as well. So these next couple of weeks are going to be a lot of pre-recorded sessions, and I apologize for everybody who looks forward to all the live ones. They will be back, I promise, because when we come back, we're going to have a really, really cool special guest, a friend of mine who is a drum streamer on Twitch, and his name is Scorpion BLS, and he is awesome. Should we say what movies we're going to be doing, or do you want to wait to announce that?
I think we'll let them know. I think
Okay.
it'll be nice.
You want to let him know now?
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
so his idea, because we kind of left it up to him because he's obviously the guest. He wants to do kind of a comparison of the original. I think it's 1978. I think is when it came out. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then the remake that was 2008. I think. I'm
I
really
think so.
iffy on
The
the dates of
dates.
those, but those are what we're going to be doing when we come back. I believe that would be July 17th. So that's in a couple of weeks, which is going to be absolutely awesome. And also today, the movie that we are going to be covering, which is a movie Aaron I know has not seen. I've seen this movie a couple of times, and that is Tourist Trap. Uh, and Aaron, just as a brief review of this before we jump into the actual review, how did you feel about this movie? Just
Um,
briefly.
I got some weird vibes from it. It started off as a typical like horror movie, but then it just got strange.
Yeah.
um, but it was fun though, and the music, the score was interesting.
Yeah, the score is actually very like minimalistic.
It's like comical though when you do hear it.
Yeah, especially when we jump into it, which we will definitely be talking about when we start. But one fun fact: this is actually one of Stephen King's favorite movies, and I can kind of see why, because it kind of aligns with stuff that he does.
Yeah,
With real life things, and always trying to prey on the everyday object or person or whatever it may be that's here in this actual world and not something supernatural. Even though he does have supernatural things, but they're all based in real life.
yeah. And you know what kind of got me too is the fact that this is rated PG.
Yeah, this is before the rating system was
So, like much
really
as
in effect.
strict.
This is like the
Yeah,
beginning of when they were starting to go really ham on a lot of ratings.
yeah,
Because I think even the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think wasn't rated R. I think that came later. I think they had to re-rate it, but I'm not 100% sure. Which I think we'll probably jump into that when we do that episode.
yeah. All right, do you mind?
Aaron's cats. Um, so before we jump into anything, let's do a little bit of social talk and where you guys can find us. And the main place that I try to be active as much as possible, especially lately, it's kind of flipped. It used to be Twitter, but now it's been Instagram, and that is the. Let me double check because I think I changed the name, and I don't want to give you guys the wrong handle. Oh, it's just the Barons Hideout underscore podcast. So I made it the full thing. So I've been trying to be on there as much as possible, and that's where also Aaron is. So Aaron, if you want to tell them where they can find you on Instagram.
You can find me on Instagram at arobho, or as I like to say, arobiho.
Yeah.
um, the BHO is for Baron's Hideout, of course. Yeah, I've been trying to be more active on there. Um, we're trying to get a Liquid Death sponsorship.
That
So
would
I've
be
been
that would be awesome if they sponsor us. I think I'd probably die. I mean, we did sell our souls to them.
Liquid Death.
I'm Liquid Death. Yes, please go check out that TikTok. And also, if you want to find us on TikTok, it's just the BHO_podcast. And I put out a pretty banging TikTok over there. I'm not a huge fan of the platform, but it's kind of a necessity these days, especially if you're trying to, grow as
Reach new demographics.
yeah, like as a public figure, or if you guys are a company, it's something you guys just you got to do. Unfortunately, it took me a long time to uh, sign up on an account over there.
I still haven't put it on my phone.
Yeah, it's okay. I understand. Maybe eventually, once you get some
Yeah.
ideas or whatever. But another place you can find us that I try to be active on as well is Twitter, which is the BHO_podcast as well. Usually, whatever I post on Instagram, I try to throw over there as well. And also, sometimes I put some other things over on Twitter. So I try to keep things fresh on every platform. You can also find us on Twitch, where we usually do our live streams, which are usually every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's just the Barons Hideout_ podcast as well. And another thing that we have that Aaron is wearing right now is we have custom shirts and a bunch of other stuff we added on a Teespring store, which is also just the Barons Hideout_podcast. You guys can find us on Teespring. We have a bunch of new items I need to actually get samples of. I made some mugs. We have wall flags, a couple of other shirt designs that I threw up over there. There's like a couple other things. I think we have a pillow, and I think that's it as of right now. But we might be changing from a Teespring store to something else, because I want to get some baseball tees because I really like those, and unfortunately, Teespring doesn't have those.
Someday.
Another place where you guys can support us, the best way to support us, is on our Patreon, which is just the Barons Hideout_podcast. We have been trying to put a lot more stuff over there, especially over the last couple weeks since we haven't really been around. I took last week off pretty much off of socials completely just because I wanted to kind of relax a little bit.
And
yeah. And now I'm kind of back full force. It took me a little bit to get some promos out for the last, I think, 2 episodes, just because I was on vacation. But everything is out right now, and it's going to be full force. And it's going to be great because I have a lot of cool ideas, and we have some really exciting stuff coming later this year that we are not going to talk about. Is there anything else I'm missing, Aaron?
I don't think so. Do you want to mention Anchor?
Yeah, Anchor, which is also a sponsor, which you guys will definitely hear at the beginning of our episodes. But yeah, they are a really cool podcast starter and distributor. They will help you pretty much do anything, and you'll hear us talk about that at the beginning of all of our episodes. So I won't go into too much detail, so you guys aren't hearing that twice. And I think that's about it. Other than Liquid Death, make sure you guys are going to get some Liquid Death.
Oh yeah,
they are the best water company. I'm Liquid Death.
I'm Liquid Death.
Please go watch that TikTok. You will not regret it. It's on Instagram. It's on TikTok. It's everywhere, guys. But I think that's about all I have to talk about. Is there anything you want to talk about before we jump into this movie, Aaron?
I don't think so. I think we're ready to hop on in.
All right, and now we're going to start the discussion of Tourist Trap.
Tourist Trap.
And we will have the lovely Aaron start us off.
Oh, all right. So Tourist Trap. We start off. We got a couple of maybe like college aged kids. Something like they're in their 20s. They're kind of young.
Yeah, pretty young.
But this is the late 70s, early 80s, right? It was a 79.
Yes, it's 79. So yeah, it's right around the cusp of that. Yep.
But yeah, so we got Eileen, who is played by Robin Sherwood. I'm honestly not too familiar with the actresses and actors, but I will mention them anyways. Then you got our boyfriend Woody, who's portrayed by Keith McDermott. Um, and they're driving through a desert. Um, and they happen to get a flat tire conveniently. Um, excuse me. I just realized I said
It's
uh,
okay.
so
We
Woody
do have that
being,
shirt.
I know, yep. So Woody goes on ahead to try and find a gas station, or find some help, and the girls, uh, Becky, Jerry, and Molly, they're actually in a separate car. They're traveling behind them, and they reach Eileen, who's waiting in the car, and they go ahead and try and find Woody, who, like I mentioned, went to the gas station, which he
Wheeling
has
his
found.
tire. Like
What's that?
he's like rolling his tire too.
Oh
Poor
yeah,
dude. And like the
in
super
that heat
hot
too.
desert.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't do well with heat, so. um,
Either man.
but yeah, so he's found a gas station, and it appears to have been deserted and empty, and so he goes on in. He's ringing a bell for service. He's calling out for service.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody answers him, so he decides to just wander into the back room. Um, but and then the door decides to just slam shut on him. He's trapped in this back room, um, and he looks at a window. The windows start closing.
Yeah.
Everything. So he's trapped. And then we start to see mannequins come out of nowhere. So we're already off to an intense start.
Yeah, this is
Um,
like I think I wrote it down. It's about
I think it's like 5 minutes in or something like that. 10 minutes maybe.
about 8 minutes.
Oh, 8 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, all this happens within like the first 8 minutes of the film.
But yeah, so they start appearing up, which is terrifying in its own. Never mind the stuff like the windows shutting themselves and the doors, but then he also has stuff flying out of a cabinet. Um, and so, like I said, we're already off to a rough start for this guy. Oh man,
Yeah, I feel bad
this
for him.
yeah. So there's mannequins all surrounding him. There's stuff flying out of a cabinet, like glass bottles and just whatever is in there. And eventually, a metal pipe just comes through and just stabs him in the back. Um,
Yeah, I think is that the pipe he was using to break open the door too?
I
I
think
think I think that's what it was.
it might have been,
Poor
but
man.
right. And what got me too was the sound it makes when it after he's like fucking impaled by it. It's just like the blood coming through the pipe.
Yeah, I even wrote down that I think that effect is great. Everything within the
Uh huh.
first 8 minutes of this film is really good. Um, it's it's kind of like a low budget film, but it feels like a high budget film because of how the
Mm-hmm.
effects are and how everything feels so alive, and
Yeah.
how many people they were probably using to get all these things to feel alive. With closing all the windows, with all the mannequins,
Yeah. Right.
moving about and things breaking and shattering. It's crazy, dude. It's great.
Mm-hmm. And this is a very dark movie too. Like the lighting,
Mm-hmm.
like from what I've seen, but like
Very
from what I
grainy too,
noticed,
which
yeah,
it is. It's the late '70s, so
yeah,
technology is still fairly new, I guess. What
yeah.
you would say in the color realm, anyway.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, excuse me. A little bit later, we cut over back to Eileen and Becky and the rest of the gang, and they happen to come across a ghost town, like an old abandoned town,
Hmm.
um, called Slazen's Lost Oasis. Um, so,
What a
and
name,
which,
dude.
yeah,
Slauson.
right, Slauson.
I've never heard that name before.
Now, um, yeah, kind of weird, Slauson. Um,
Slauson.
Slauson. But anyways, so this lost oasis is the tourist trap in question, or used to be a tourist trap. Well, still kind of is.
Yeah.
You'll learn. Um, but so they decide, oh, Woody's got to be there. So as they're driving through town, their truck also mysteriously decides to just break down. Um, and Jerry tries to fix it, and the girls are like, we ain't hanging around. We ain't waiting for this guy to, fix the truck. We're just gonna wander off, and
Hmm.
they decide to go skinny dipping in a lot in the Oasis.
Yep.
So and they have a conversation like, oh, we don't need bikinis, or we don't, who needs bathing suits, and um so, well, that's on them. But so as they're swimming around, and they already look uncomfortable. Like, if you're uncomfortable with the situation, why are you doing it?
Exactly.
But yeah, so we got a strange man with a cowboy hat. Um, he's probably middle aged or so. Comes in
I would
and
definitely say he's definitely like middle age.
yeah. So he comes up. He's gun in hand, his cowboy hat. He introduced himself as one and only Mr.
Slauson, yep.
Slauson, who is portrayed by Chuck Connors, which actually I found out a little bit about him. He actually used to be like a professional athlete, and he played for like the Celtics and stuff
Yep,
like that.
that's true.
So
So
and
he
he
was,
was like,
yeah, he's probably the biggest name
yeah,
in this movie. Aaron, I can take it away for a little bit.
okay, yeah,
So yeah, he rolls up and he's pretty much talking to the girls and saying, he used to rent out the waterfall or the oasis for 75 cents. Can you imagine that? Paying
70.
for just paying that much money to stay in there for a full day compared to nowadays, it'll probably be like $15.
Yeah, right.
So that's a pretty good deal, I would say. But back then, I can understand why it was probably a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But he also would, he had the museum, which he brings the group there later, but he's pretty much talking about that, like, well, people don't really come over anymore because they built this highway, so people kind of just go right by it. So he's been out of business,
Yep.
and he says in quotes, "Everyone is in such a damn hurry these days," which I think is very relatable to even now.
Oh yeah.
Everybody is in such a rush to just
Everybody
go.
lives such fast-paced lifestyles now.
Yeah, like when you're driving, how many times does somebody like cut you
Do you
off
actually?
to go and just have to slow down when they get in front of you because other people are stopping? Like,
Yeah.
you're in such a rush to just go somewhere to not go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And like nowadays, I feel like people don't like you see something, and which understandable. You see like different like attractions on the side of the road. People will just drive by them. I
Yeah.
feel like the people that's not as common of a thing to do now is to like say you're on a road trip or something like that and
Yep.
stop at roadside attractions and stuff like that. But
Yeah, which I actually
you know,
was doing on my vacation. We stopped at a lot of cool like little spots and stuff because we were up in New Hampshire, so there was a lot of cool little shops and weird things. They have an all year round Christmas store and Halloween store, dude, that we
oh
stopped at. And I
really?
was like, and it's open all year round, and they were awesome.
That's cool.
So I'm like, well, New Hampshire is where it's at right now, man.
Right.
So that was really fun, and it's kind of relatable to this because I was thinking about that trip while I was watching, like rewatching this movie. I was like, wow, like there were a lot of places like this where I was, so this could have happened. You know what I mean?
Imagine.
So yeah, he's
Jeez.
talking to the girls, and they're like, well, you better get out of that water because there's gonna be what the hell did they say was in the water? Was it leeches or something like that?
I think so.
Like
Yeah.
if you guys stay in here at night, you're gonna get eaten alive by these water creatures. And the girls are like, okay. So he like walks away, and they're kind of telling him also like their car's broken down, so they make their way back to the car and get Jerry, or did Jerry come down to the water? It's one of those. But either way, Mr. Slauson's like, oh, I'll bring you guys up to the museum so we can go get some parts and try to figure out what's wrong with your car.
Yeah.
So he goes back. After he goes to the museum with the girls, he kind of explains what it was, and no one really goes here anymore, and that he had a brother who made these mannequins that you see, and they're kind of like reminiscent of the ones we saw when Woody was killed. So he says that yeah, his brother used to be here, but he kind of moved away because he's with the bigger leagues making more stuff for
Yeah.
wax museums and stuff like that. So he's like, you know, in the big leagues
Yeah.
now. And the girls were also asking him like, "Hey, there's a house over there. Who lives in there?" And he's like, "Davy." And they're like, "Davy who?" And he's like, kind of being an asshole, and he says Crockett. It's like, oh my god, man. So Davy Crockett lives next door, quote unquote.
Who's Davy Crockett?
Yeah. So I think one of the girls asks to use a phone, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, you can use a phone." And this is when he's about to leave with Jerry to go back to the car.
Yep.
So they're like, "Yeah, you can use the phone," and they go to do it, but he's like, "They don't work." And then they're like, "Oh, okay." And they're like, "Well, can we go outside?" And he's like, "I mean, you can, but there's coyotes, so I would suggest that you stay in here." So I think, does he bring the shotgun right now, or does he just go with Jerry, and that's fine?
I think he just goes with Jerry to the Jeep,
Yeah,
and then she goes to the house.
Yeah, that's right. So the two boys go, and now it's just the three girls. It's Becky, Molly, and Eileen. And they're all kind of talking about the house, and Eileen is very like, "I'm going to go to Davy's house to see if there's a phone there. If the phones don't work in the museum, why would you think they're going to work in the house
across the street
to the museum?"
Yeah.
I've always loved horror movie logic.
I
It's
know.
the best when you're just like, you're a fucking idiot. I call bullshit on that.
Yeah, right.
So she's like, "Well, I'm going to go over there." And the other girl's like, "Well, we're going to stay here because he said not to go out there because there's coyotes and stuff, and I don't want to die." So she's like, "Well, whatever, fine. I'll go by myself." So I think she takes a flashlight with her, and she heads over to the house. And she starts to hear these two people talking inside of the house, which, from being outside and hearing these voices as clear as they are,
It must be pretty loud.
yeah, or like super like paper thin walls or something.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go in there." And then she walks into like this living room area where there's another mannequin sitting on the couch that's like an old man, and then another one in a rocking chair that's an old woman, but the chair is rocking. So it's like, was somebody in here, or is the mannequin alive? What's going on? But she doesn't really catch on to that. She kind of just waves it away, and then she hears Woody's name, I believe, and she goes into this room where there's a shit ton more mannequins, like a lot. And she's even just like looking around, like, "What the hell is this?" And you see some of the dolls' eyes like moving. Yep. I was like, "Okay, so these must be alive." But during this part, Aaron, what are you thinking? Like, would you be creeped out, or would you continue?
I'd be terrified.
Go in there to find your friend Woody.
I don't know. I guess it depends. As bad as it sounds, I guess it depends on like how close I was with Woody, you know. But if it was you, I would, I'd go looking for you.
Well, thank you. I would like to say I would go looking for you, but I would probably just say, "You know what, you're fucked. I'm going away. Honestly, bye, dude. I'm sorry."
Yeah, but like I don't know. I guess it depends. Unless you're in that situation, it's one of those things you don't know what you do. But like, I'd like to think I would try and put on a brave face, and but I'd probably be terrified.
Especially if you're hearing me say your name and it's my voice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's another thing that's like really creepy. Especially in this movie, because it happens a lot. You hear the person calling the person who's looking for them. They say their name and it's them, but you don't see them anywhere. That's the creepiest thing. So Eileen, she's just like, whatever. She's not really freaked out, but I want to say that she's kind of freaked out. But then she starts like taking things off the mannequins, and then she puts like an ascot on her, like a red ascot. And she's like looking in the mirror, and she's like, "Oh, I look really good." And she's like fixing up her hair, and then we see this masked person. I don't know what we want to call him. I guess this would be quote unquote Davy. That's kind of like what I've been kind of referring to him in my notes anyway.
It's Davy, yeah.
So he walks in, and he shatters the glass telepathically. Is that the right one? Because there's two different telepathy, and what's the other one? Is there another one?
Yeah,
Or
telepathy is. Oh no,
so
telekinesis.
telekinesis, that's what it is. I always forget. Telepathy is when you can talk to somebody.
That's right.
Telekinesis is when you can do things. So I wrote it down wrong here. So yeah, he uses like telekinesis. So this guy's he's a mutant. He's from the X-Men. So he shatters like the mirror that she's looking in. She's freaking out. He's also getting like the other puppets to, well, I call them puppets because that's kind of how they act, but they are mannequins. To kind of like move around and like do things. And he's like breaking out the glass on the wall and making the puppets move. And I think one of the windows shatters. Yep. And she has the ascot around her. And he just strangles her with it. So he's like using his mind to strangle her, which I think is a kind of cool effect, especially back then to pull all that stuff off. That's pretty ballsy, you know. Then we don't really see much else after that because we cut back to the remaining girls, who's Becky and Molly, and they're looking through a photo album. And I think it's Molly who's looking through it, and Becky's like, "Oh wow, you're such like a snoop. You're always looking at things, and you really shouldn't." She's like, "Well, it's on the coffee table." So they're going through it, and they find Mr. Slauson and his wife, and then they find this other mannequin who is in like this pretty cool like indent in a wall.
With, like, it's like almost like almost like a shrine.
Yeah, like a little bit of a shrine. So it's like white lights, and it likes to turn on and off. So they go over there, and they're looking at it like, wow, this looks kind of like his wife. And they're like feeling what the mannequin feels like, and like, wow, this feels like flesh. And it's like already right there, you know something is fucked.
I would have dipped.
Yeah, I would have been like,
keep the truck, I'll walk.
And they're like trying to like, you know, make sense of it or trying to understand like, oh, this must be made out of some like different fabric from somewhere else that's like really unique or whatever. Yeah. So it's like, no, dude, no. If it feels like flesh, it's flesh.
Yeah, right.
I don't think there's any fabric in the world that feels like flesh unless I'm dumb and there actually is something out there.
Could be. Who knows?
So yeah, they're talking about the mannequin, and Mr. Slauson comes in. I think he scares the girls a little bit, right? Yeah. And they're like, oh, because I think they move away from it, and they're like, well, where's Jerry? And he's like, oh, he took the truck back to town to go get some parts for the car because we couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they go back to the mannequin, and he kind of explains that he made this to kind of, you know, keep her as a memory here because he loved her so much, and that she passed away due to cancer. So it's like, wow, that's hard. Cancer is, you know, such a bitch, and fuck cancer. Any kind of cancer. There's no good kind of cancer.
No. But yeah.
And then Aaron, if you want to take it away a little bit from there, I think it's when Eileen goes to Davy's house, I believe.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Right? Yeah, I believe
Eileen,
so.
Or is it Becky?
Eileen, I think.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, Becky. Because Eileen went first.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, so after that whole exchange, when Becky is told that Eileen had left, she also goes into the house, but this time she doesn't even like walk into the front. She climbs in through a window, like she's like breaking in.
It's like, what the hell?
So unnecessary. Like the other girl walked in the front door, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, she just walked right in there.
But anyways, so she wanders on over to the house, looking for Eileen, and she finds her, only she's not exactly the way she knows her as. She is been turned into a mannequin. So that's petrifying. So he he returns. I assume what's his name, Slauson, and tells Molly and Becky he didn't find Eileen, that he'll continue to look for her, and the other girls decide to leave and search for her as well.
Yep.
she finds the mannequin that looks like Eileen.
Yeah.
She's attacked by the deranged killer, Davy.
Davy Crockett.
Davy. um, yeah. So, and that mask is pretty fucking scary too. It's like latex or like plaster or something, but
Yeah, I'm not sure.
kind of
what
reminds
they
me of Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But so, sorry, one sec. Lost my place. There we go. She's attacked by him and as well as an army of mannequins.
Yeah.
When this scene is
It's
like, imagine
crazy.
just being like overpowered just by like all these mannequins and
Yeah.
like you can't do shit about it. Like, and like the point that like first person view of like her on the ground too with all the mannequins like surrounding her.
It's pretty intense.
Like,
It's just like, damn,
yeah.
man, where are all these mannequins coming from?
Yeah, they just keep popping up and then just start smothering her, and eventually, she just, yeah. Sorry, I lost my place again.
It's okay.
She's
She gets captured and goes down to the basement.
That's right. Yeah. She wakes up in the basement along with Jerry.
Yep.
Um,
And
Jerry.
Molly too, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Right? Is it Molly? No, it's some random girl.
Yeah.
It's a random girl that we don't know a name of.
Yeah. So another prisoner. But Jerry tells her that the killer is Slosson's brother. But yeah, this, like you said, there's also another young woman there named Tina.
Oh, really? I didn't even catch the name.
Yeah, I just have it up on IMDb right now, so I get all that information.
Yeah, there you go. He's our fact dude.
But yeah, so and she's strapped to a table. So, and then she's killed by Davy, or supposedly Davy, by some plaster. So he just starts taking some nasty ass slop, which again, plaster.
It looks like dough.
Yeah,
I wonder. That's probably what
like
they
pizza
used.
dough that sat out in warm weather, where it gets all like warm and like liquidy almost. But so he starts just like smothering it all over her face, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, you won't suffocate." So she doesn't die from suffocating. Her heart basically just fucking gives in because she's so petrified.
Yeah, and the heartbeat too gets so intense. Like it starts so subtle, and then that's all you hear.
And then you just silence, and you just know she's gone right there.
Died of fright.
Yeah. Right, imagine. Just I couldn't. Fuck that shit.
How would I don't. One thing I don't understand: how would she not suffocate when she can't breathe?
Maybe it's just like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, maybe he left it just enough so she wouldn't, but that's still so she still dies from like basically having a heart attack, or like from fear.
I guess possibly, yeah.
But maybe that's something they didn't really think of, you know.
Plot hole, maybe.
Yeah. So anyways, she suffocates, dies. Jerry gets free and attacks the killer, but he ends up getting overpowered.
Pretty bad too.
Yeah. He gets tied back up. He's right back where he starts. And Davy knocks over a key to his restraints. But then Jerry notices that, well, Davy doesn't, or supposedly doesn't notice. He goes to reach for it, and the key is just swiped away by thin air telekinesis. So he's like, shit, that's my only way out. But anyway, so that at that point it's confirmed he's got to have telekinesis, you know, like
we don't really go into depth about it either, I don't think.
No, that's the weird part, is like this guy just randomly has telekinesis, and
yeah, there's
like,
no like big backstory to it.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have something, but
yeah, right.
I guess the unknown is scarier.
Yeah, that's true. Excuse me. But Molly, who's still outside looking for everyone, she's pursued by the masked man. And she ends up coming across Slosson, who drives her to the museum, and he gives her a gun. He's like, here, protect yourself. It's not safe out here.
Yep.
While he runs inside, and um, immediately after, Davy comes up and he's coming at her. She shoots him, um, and shoots him again. He's just laughing at her, making fun of her, and she realizes the gun was loaded with blanks.
Yeah, and it's such a setup too because even before she's like, I don't know how to use a gun. He's like, girl, just shoot and pull the trigger, and the rest will do.
Yeah.
Do the job. So she's doing what she was told because she's never done it before. And
Yep.
then Davey is just like, haha, that gun was loaded with blanks. And she's like, fuck. So like already right now, and I think this is when we get the reveal, right?
The big reveal. Yep. And so Davy pulls his terrifying fucking mask off, and who is it but Slauson?
Dun dun
Fucking Slauson.
dun.
I knew that guy was up to no good.
It's just like I even like the first time of me viewing this, they were trying very hard, and I do appreciate what they were trying to do. Is like build up this really cool backstory and try to keep it like a big mystery, but you kind of already know that it's this guy. At least I did. Did you
once
think
you've
it
seen
was him the
enough,
whole time, Aaron?
yeah, honestly, yeah, because once you've seen so many movies like this, you just kind of know.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
feel like,
imagine if it wasn't though. Imagine if
oh,
it
that would
was
be
a
a great
bigger
plot twist
twist.
though, because they get you thinking it is, and then
Hmm.
yeah,
But I do appreciate because this is like one of the first like I'm not gonna
yeah,
say the first who done it things, but this is kind of like what sparked a lot of like the ones, especially in the '80s.
mm-hmm.
So I really do hold this pretty highly for credit on that end. So I think they did a
Yeah.
very good job of keeping it a big mystery. I'll take it away for a little bit, Aaron.
Okay.
So I lost my
He
place
just
now.
revealed himself.
Yeah, he revealed himself. Um, and then I think we jump back to
Back to the
Jerry.
house. Yeah.
So
Becky and
they
Jerry.
find let me just oh yeah, you know what? I'm looking way too back on my notes, that's why. Um
They're escaping from the basement.
actually let me just make sure. No, what happens, I think Molly starts running away and
Oh
she
yeah, yeah.
eventually gets drowned. Well, drowned by Mr. Slauson, and then that's kind of
That's
like
right.
the end that we see of that. And then we jump back down to the cellar and they find, well, Becky finds this blade that she says that she like um kicks over to Jerry. Dude, this guy is tied in chains. It's not a rope before that, he's in chains.
And it's not gonna do shit.
And he's trying to saw away the chains with this dull ass blade or even like a file. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Um,
You're
so
gonna be
that
there for a while, guy.
yeah, so he's trying to do that, and then we jump back to Molly. No, Slauson's trying to feed the I think the Eileen character now, who's the puppet.
Hmm.
Trying to feed her soup and crackers, and trying to talk to the mannequin, and it's not responding until he puts on the mask, and then it starts
Hmm.
talking back to him and stuff. So it's just like, what the fuck is going on? And then the head falls off,
Oh yeah.
and then he makes his way over to a room where Molly is essentially tied down to this bed. Her arms are free and her legs are free, but just like her torso is tied, so she can't move.
Yeah. So
And
she's still trapped.
yeah, so he wheels in the Eileen character as well and starts talking like, "Hey, I have a friend for you, and here it is." And Molly's like, "You're insane." He's just like, "Yeah, well, whatever." So that's kind of like a quick little glimpse of how insane this guy really is, because he says all of these mannequins around you are your friends, and if you take care of me, I'm going to take care of you. So it's just like, what the fuck? This guy has been
He's a whack job.
he's crazy.
Ain't taking the lack of business well.
Yeah, I know. It's like ever since like all his visitors left, he just went completely insane. Then we jump back down to the cellar, and what happens? Jerry magically is able to cut the chains off with this dull ass blade. I don't know how. I really don't. So he escapes, then he goes and frees up Becky, and they go upstairs. And I like this scene a lot because there's a shit ton of mannequins in the hallway, and Slauson has the mask back on because obviously Becky and Jerry don't know that it's Mr.
Thanks.
Slauson, only Molly and the viewer who's us. So he has
Yeah.
to continue to play the part. And he's in the living room that we saw before with I guess the old couple, the lady in the wheelchair and on the couch. And
Yeah.
he's there playing with dolls, acting like a little 2-year-old. And as they're coming up the stairs, he hears them because they run by, but then they disguise themselves as mannequins within the mannequins. Because there's a
Yeah.
shit ton of them. And I love this scene. It builds suspension, I think, pretty well. I think this is
Yep.
probably the most suspenseful part of the movie because it kind of goes on for a good while. I want to say like 2 or 3 minutes, and
Yeah.
he's just looking around. I don't know how he doesn't see them. You think he would like recognize if there's a
Yeah.
new one
Right.
there? Uh,
I never seen that mannequin before.
yeah,
I don't remember
so
making this.
so he doesn't you know discover them. He goes back into the room, and then Jerry tells Beckett, "Okay, come on, come on, come on." And I think they split at some point to find different exits because we only focus on Jerry.
Yeah.
And he's trying to open up a door, a window, and he finds another window. And this, I was laughing my ass off at this part because he finds this window, and then Davey, well, now that we know Mr. Slauson, opens up these sliding doors to the area that he was in and finds Jerry, and Jerry just jumps out the window. He's like, "Fuck this, I'm out." So
Yeah. Right.
he literally just jumps out. He's like, "I'm done," and then he lands on the porch or the deck of the house, then jumps over and starts running into the woods. And Slauson comes out, and he's like, "You're never gonna get away from me, kid." And then Becky goes out the window, the same one he jumped out of, and runs the opposite direction. But of course, he doesn't go after Jerry. He runs after Becky, and
Was.
he runs after her a little bit. Then they get lost, and then Becky runs into the real. Well, I don't know if I would say the real Slauson. I think the other one's the real Slauson. It's the same person. Just
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, I'm saying that the Davy character is actual like
Like a
Slauson.
persona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're so hurt. I'm gonna bring you back here. So he brings her into this room. He's like, I'm gonna go get my doctrine kit. And it's just like, oh, who the fuck says doctrine kit? I'm gonna doctrine you right up. It's like, what the hell? And so he goes to sit down, and Becky gets up, and then goes into this little other area of this room where I think we saw these mannequins before, which is like the ones from I guess it's the Civil War with and there's like a Native American there and two soldiers, and they have guns, and they start shooting at her. And like Slauson's just sitting there and laughing it up, and she's like dodging the bullets because she's trying to figure out a way out. And then this Native American starts throwing axes at her, and then she thinks it's done, and I think she makes her way to a phone or something, and then gets a knife right in the back of her head, and now she's dead. So pretty much everybody's dead now besides Jerry and Molly. We think Jerry has gone away because we don't see him for a little
Yeah.
bit.
We haven't seen him for a little while. Yeah.
And then we jump back to Molly, where we see this other mannequin who looks like a mannequin, and then it turns into a real person, and like
Mm-hmm.
I think gives wipes her head because she's like sweating like really bad, and then
Yeah.
she fades back into a mannequin, which I thought that effect is really cool because the way the lighting is really like makes
Yep.
that effect work.
Oh yeah.
And then Slauson comes back and brings Molly to this room where we pretty much now know that the mannequin that looked like his wife is his wife, because I think he even says that I don't know if it's at this point, but a little bit more. I'll just say it anyway. That Slauson killed his brother and wife,
And his wife. Yeah.
but that we're set up in this like almost ceremony room,
Yeah.
but we don't know what's really going on because he like lays her down, and his wife's there, and then she tries to crawl away because he's sitting in a chair, and like the door's locked, but he's pretending to sleep or something, and she starts
Mm-hmm.
to slowly crawl away. I don't know what really happened to Molly, but like she can't use her legs, or maybe she's paralyzed from something. Because she
Yeah.
was like drowned, so who knows what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like crawling away to the door, and then like all the mannequins start looking at her because Slausen's awake, but she doesn't realize that yet. And then they start dancing, and he starts like laughing. It's like the weirdest. This part I think is the weirdest of the whole movie because they don't really explain what's going on. You think that he's going. What I was thinking was that he was trying to do some sort of spiritual something to put Molly's soul into his wife, which I think would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Because the way that she's set up there, and he's sitting there, and like she's already super weak, like breaking her down mentally or whatever.
Yep.
I think this would be a really, if they were gonna remake this movie, that's what they should do. They
Yeah,
should,
add like a more supernatural like type like
yeah,
vibe to it.
because they
Yeah.
don't really explain his telekinesis at all. It's kind of just like up
No.
in the air for you to decide. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that would have been really cool if they were like, okay, this part right here is gonna get really dark and crazy. He's gonna do some sort of like spell or something to transfer her mind and soul into the mannequin of his wife, and then it will actually come back, and like they can finally be together, even though he's like really attached to Molly right now.
Yeah.
But I think that would have been really fucking cool.
Some kind of like ritual. Yeah.
Yeah, and Aaron, if you want to close out the ending of this movie, unless you want me to continue, it's completely up to you. But I think
Yeah, I can take over.
go right ahead. I love the ending in this movie, even though it's a little weird.
All right. So, uh, this is right after they start dancing.
Hmm.
Yeah. So he's dancing with her, and Jerry comes back to rescue Molly, but he unknowingly has been turned into a mannequin as well. Um,
It's just
and
like what?
yeah, but we don't know that until Slauson comes up and just takes his arm off so casually, like it's nothing.
Dude, I was laughing, especially the first time I watched this. I was confused, but I was laughing my ass off because like the effects are really good for this
Yeah,
part. But it's also just like, how is he a mannequin? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
How'd they turn him into a mannequin so fast?
I mean, I know he was with Slauson for a while because like they took the car, so he must have done something. But he's the only one that looks like a person compared to all the
Yeah.
other mannequins. You know, so
So that's
it
like another
confused me
plot
a
hole
little bit.
right there. Yeah. But so, anyways, he's a mannequin. His arm is removed. And Slauson continues to dance with the mannequin figure of his wife.
Hmm.
And she sees that the wife has become like animated as a real person, and she's fucking traumatized.
Yeah, I would
I
be
mean,
too.
would be too. Yeah. Um, she finds a hatchet and she sneaks up behind Slauson and just slams the thing into his neck. Um, and as he turns around, he just like starts dying so slowly. He's just
Yeah.
like that classic, like dramatic, like
Oh no, I'm dead.
yeah, I'm dying. Oh man,
Oh no,
yeah.
you hurt me. Ah.
Um, but so with him being dead, the telekinesis, influence over the mannequins also goes away, and
Mhm.
all the mannequins just stop moving. Um, and then we cut to Molly. Did I say? Yeah, Molly.
Yep, it's Molly.
Driving the jeep or the truck down the highway in broad daylight with all of her friends as mannequins. And she's just like, just fucking insane. Like
Yeah,
she's just like she has this like manic like look on her face and like, but like
this
anyone would
movie.
be fucked up after that shit. And
This movie is it's a really good movie, but
yeah,
it's weird as fuck.
it is.
Yeah, I
It
think
was
we
a
got.
short movie too.
Yeah, it was like what, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Um,
we just take a freeze frame on her face, and then we go straight to credits.
yep.
Um, but overall, Aaron, even though this movie is wacky as shit and it's short, what did you think of it? Now that we went through the whole thing and that we you kind of like refreshed your mind.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Like aside from those few plot holes we talked about, I'd
Hmm.
like a little more background on the telekinesis, and you know, it was kind of vague throughout the movie. It's
Yeah.
just like, but other than that, though, I mean, it wasn't a bad movie.
No.
I thought the effects were great.
Yeah, me too. One question I want to ask you is, do you think now that Slauson is dead and he had this kind of connection with Molly, do you think now that maybe she took over the telekinesis, do you think it's something that could have been
Hmm.
transferred, or do you think now that he's dead,
At
that
just
that
the
shit
end of
can't
that
happen
whole,
again?
I don't know. I think it would be a pretty cool idea for a sequel of where, like, if say, like you said, they got like his powers got transferred to her or something like
Hmm.
that, and she like took over like the museum or something. But that might be milking it a little bit. But I think it would be. I think that's a cool concept, though.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's what I was thinking at the time. I was like, she has her friends, I mean the mannequins, you
or even
know.
yeah,
So
even a
it's
movie.
like, I think it would be cool if she had that power and can make them come back to life. I mean, they'd be under her influence, but
Yeah,
at least they won't be in this mannequin state. They could actually move around like Jerry was doing, and
yeah.
go off and do things instead of just standing there. Because that's just creepy as
Hmm.
fuck. Like,
But
what are you gonna do with your mannequin friends? You gonna just hold them up in a
just
room?
hanging out with them, yeah. I don't know. You gonna dance with them like Slauson?
Yeah, I know, right? Um, but yeah,
But
I really do enjoy this movie. I can see why Stephen King would like this movie a lot.
yeah, it's pretty wacky. But
It's super wacky. It's so Stephen King, you know.
oh yeah,
I think the acting that is very good. Obviously, Slauson, he steals the show. He
oh
does
yeah.
such a great job with the voices and the way that he portrays like power and everything is
Hmm.
really good. I just wish that they had a little bit of a backstory to his powers and maybe make him an X Men.
Yeah.
I would love
All
to see
right.
him in like the comics as Tourist Trap. What would his name be? Just Davy?
Davey. Hmm. I don't know. Because was it in the X-Men that also had telekinesis?
A lot of them.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like all, I think I know the ones that had like telepathy was Professor X, Jean
Yep.
Grey. There's a lot of them.
Yeah. But just imagine he like she went to go, or he Slauson went to go join the X-Men or something like
Yeah,
that.
the X
And
Men
it's
go
like
visit this tourist trap area, and they find this dude, and like, hey, come with us, and we'll teach you how to use your powers.
all right.
That
It's like,
that
oh,
would be
what's your badass superhero name gonna be? Davy.
Davy. Yeah, that would be really cool.
But
Um, so for rating, before we jump into some of the Rotten Tomatoes, if you want to pull those up, Aaron,
yeah.
my rating for this movie, I enjoy this movie a shit ton. Yes, there's a few plot holes, but it's a good movie. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. Blood
Yeah.
splatters. Yep. Just because of it's a pretty original idea, and for the time it came out of, the way the effects are done, the way the writing is done. I wish the
Yeah.
twists were a little bit better, but 9 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah. Um I really enjoyed it too. Again, like for the same reasons, I'm gonna knock a little bit off, but I'm gonna give it 8.5 out of 10 blood splatters.
Awesome. Yeah, I
Um,
think it's definitely holds up for a movie that could be watched
yeah,
multiple times. You know.
especially considering it's from that like the beginning that era of like horror movies, like the
Yeah, this
80s.
was. Well, we
This,
had what, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, then we had Halloween, and then we have this for slashers. I mean, obviously it was a ton more
yeah,
before, even like in between all this, but this is a pretty good slasher. I know
yeah,
some people probably consider this as a psychological thriller or horror, but it is a slasher. There's a body count.
yeah. Six, I
It's
think it was.
Yes, it was like the whole group besides Molly, so I think there was like 7 of them. So yeah,
Yeah,
including the
but
random girl.
yep, and Slauson.
Yeah, and Slauson. Yep.
Um, but I do have the Rotten Tomatoes page up. You
Okay.
want to take a whack at what you think the tomato meter is? This would be the critic score.
Critic score, oof, I'm probably gonna give it like a 68.
68.
Yeah.
Well, on that tomato meter, it got 40%.
Whoa! They did not like this one.
No. Um,
Eesh.
and that's only between 5 reviews, though.
5 reviews? Oh, come on,
Yeah.
people.
Right. And then the audience score. What
I'm
are you
gonna keep it
thinking?
at 68.
Yeah, 47%
Wow, no one
with
likes this movie.
2,500 reviews.
2,500 reviews?
Yeah.
Wow, I guess we're the only ones that like kind of really enjoyed this movie, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Wow, man, that's kind of a bummer. I thought this movie was great.
I liked it.
I think those people need to go rewatch this. Maybe they watch some kind of weird bootleg version that looked like ass.
Yeah, somebody said a limp 70s horror entry from Mannequin Meister David Schmoller, the Puppet Master series.
Yeah, I was gonna say he also went off and made one of my favorite series. I have it right here. If I can grab it. Puppet Master. So he went off and made this one in the late 80s. I think it was 89 is when it the first one came up, but there's a lot of them. And Aaron, this is definitely, I'm going to let you actually borrow this. I haven't even opened this up yet. I got this from Full Moon Studios. Cuz like I'm subscribed to them, and if you were subscribed for I think it was like 6 months, they gave you the full box set of 12 Puppet Master Blu-rays. So if you want to watch Puppet Master and you want to watch really cool stop motion and wacky stories, but really cool, like people that are introduced. And I actually have the Blade mask right here is from Puppet Master. So he's like one of like the bigger ones. But yeah, he went off and made a really good series. So if you ever want to borrow this, Aaron, just let me know.
Will do. I've been meaning to watch it too. I haven't seen them yet. So
it's really good. I think the first one used to be on Shudder, but then it got moved over to Full Moon Studios because they have the rights to it now.
Yeah.
I could probably shoot you my Full Moon account as well, because they have that's also like a horror movie and like B movie streaming service that's really good. I'm not on there as much because Shudder has been putting out a lot of good stuff. I mean, they have like they're starting to put out cool like B style H.P. Lovecraft like movies and series and stuff, which I think is really really cool that I need to check out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just so much in the horror world right now, especially this year with all these awesome movies that are coming out, that it's so hard to keep up on like the older stuff that I want to catch up on, but also need to watch all the new stuff that's coming out so that we can review the newer stuff as well.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to figure out something, but I think before this, you guys would be seeing our first, I want to say, quote unquote, live reaction of the Halloween Kills trailer. So that would be coming up before this episode. So if you guys are listening to this, make sure you go and watch or listen to our reaction. And we're going to start to do stuff like this to kind of get some more content out to you guys, because we feel like we're lacking on that end just a little bit. Yeah. But I've been enjoying this whole journey with you, Aaron, and
Me too,
thank
man.
you so much for being a part of this, dude.
Thank you for having
know
me.
I say it a lot, but seriously, thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me.
I love seeing all the stuff through your eyes and like your input,
like
on
a fresh
things.
mind.
Yeah, it was like because you guys will be seeing eventually. I don't know when it's coming out, but Dean of the Dead, the hot sauce, awesome guy that came on early on our podcast. I went on his podcast that's brand new that I'm going to be co-host on. That's going to be absolutely awesome. That will be coming out, I think, mid-July. I think that's when he has it planned. So that's going to be really fun too. So make sure when that drops, you got. Oh no, kitty!
She started climbing on the computer.
That's okay. I love cats, but they're annoying as hell. So yeah, there's a lot of cool shit coming out lately, and a lot of things that we're trying to work towards right now. Like we're trying to get kind of recognized a little bit by Liquid Death. So make sure you guys are going to buy some cases. You can go right on the website and get them for $14. And if you buy through the website, you guys earn skulls for every
Yep.
dollar you spend, and you get free shit. And literally, you
Yeah.
can buy
Who
like
doesn't
two
like free
cases.
stuff?
Yeah, buy like 2 cases, and you're able to get a free shirt. It's great shit. And they have a new horror movie coming out. That Aaron, I gotta buy you a ticket. I just bought myself a ticket, but I'm gonna reach out to them later to see what I can do. Maybe we can get another one to give away or something. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a live stream. I think that's July 11th. Are you gonna be in town?
July 11th.
I think that's next Sunday.
Yeah, I think I might.
It's at
Let me
8
look at my
p.m.
calendar.
Their
Okay.
live stream for it.
July 11th. I think I come back the 14th.
The 14th.
So.
Well, it's gonna be at 8 p.m. So if you have some downtime,
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
live stream, and their movie is like 45 minutes. So it's
Oh, okay.
It's gonna
like
be
a
really,
short
really
film.
fun. Yeah, and it's all about liquid death. It's called Dead Till Death. Great title. And
Dead till death.
I just bought the poster and the ticket. I think it was like $20 or something like that. So if you want that, I'll send you a link.
Weird.
They have a shirt too that's really cool, but little not sponsored, but sponsored segment right there for Liquid Death because they are a great company, and I do have their poster right. Where is it? Right here. If you can see my hand. Doing it backwards like sucks. Right up there. So yeah, they're really, really cool. Before we end this, Aaron, is there anything you want to talk about? Anything that's been driving your pants at all? that you want to bring up? Any new music or any movies or anything that you want to talk about to let people know to go check out?
Did we ever tell them what movies we're going to be doing next?
I don't think so. So if you want to go ahead and explain what we're going to be doing, go right ahead.
All right. So next week we are going to be doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? Yeah. That's no wait.
No,
is that...
no, we're doing 2 before that.
That's right. My bad.
It's okay. There's a lot of movies we have
I didn't
to like
spoil too
memorize.
much.
No.
No, but we will be doing Jaws for the 4th of July.
As a bonus episode for you guys.
And we will also be doing
Sleepaway Camp.
Sleepaway Camp. That's right. Sleepaway Camp.
I actually. Everything's fallen. Aaron was with me when I got this, and I finally got it so I can put it on display now for you guys. Is I have the survival kit and signed by Felissa Rose. So I actually have the first 3 Sleepaway Camp movies in here. I don't have the one after when Felissa came back for the Sleepaway Camp series, but this is a really rare find, and I bought this at FYE 10 years ago, maybe even more, and I got it on sale for like $12. And this, if you go on eBay, I was looking at it before, shit's going for a lot of money now, because you can't find this anywhere. And this was sealed when I got it. It says it was used, but it wasn't. It was completely sealed. Like someone like got it and was like, "Yeah, I'm done with this," and just brought it in. It's DVD. It's not Blu-ray. Yeah, and it's signed, and it's great. It says, "To Dustin, meet me at the waterfront after the social." Melissa Rose.
And she was super nice too.
Yeah, I can't wait for that, and it's gonna be great. It would be really cool if we could get Felissa on for that, but I think that's probably a long shot, especially with it so like not enough time to really reach out to her because she does a lot of stuff like that. But eventually, I want to start branching out and reaching out to some actors and stuff and seeing if we can get them on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that we're getting up there in numbers and a lot of views and stuff now, so thank you guys so much for supporting us. Even if you're just listening and you don't want to, go on Patreon or anything like that, you guys just being here, listening or watching the episodes is the number one thing. Don't ever think you have to, give us money or anything because you guys just watching supports us just enough.
Yeah,
we are forever grateful.
It already means the world.
And I think that's about it for this episode.
Yeah, I think so.
So thank you guys once again for tuning in. This was the Baron's Hideout Podcast. I'm your host, Dustin.
And I'm your co-host Aaron.
We'll see you guys next time, and come listen if you dare.